Hello and welcome to the College Investor Audio Show. Something very new that we don't do very often at all, but today we have a special guest. Robert Farrington had a chance to sit down with California State Treasurer Fiona Ma, and they have a wide-ranging discussion about education savings in California. Tons of great stuff, from the ScholarShare 529 plans to CalKIDS to even chatting with the executive director of CalABLE. It's all today. By the way, if you want to dive deeper into 529 plans and all the wonderful things that you can do with them, check it out at thecollegeinvestor.com. Like us, follow us, and all the things on social media too. Just search for The College Investor and you'll find us. Also, you're really going to want to stick around until the end of this interview because I know you're going to want to hear Treasurer Ma's thoughts on getting a 529 plan state deduction, where families can claim free 529 plan money, and a whole lot more. All right, let's get to it. Our interview with Fiona Ma.
So, welcome, Treasurer Ma. I'm so excited to have you here.
Thank you, Robert.
Thank you. You have had an incredible career, from CPA to Assembly Speaker pro tempore to State Treasurer. How did this begin? Give us a little background.
Well, it's really a fluke. I was trained to be an accountant, started with one of the big 8 accounting firms. But after 5 years, there were not a lot of people that looked like me in leadership. And that's part of why people aspire or stay with a company or organization if they see that there's a path. And so I didn't. And then I started my own practice and became president of a small business association. So that was the first time that I had to get involved in politics, going down to San Francisco City Hall, to Sacramento, even to Washington, D.C., to try to lobby for more business opportunities, contracting opportunities for women and minority small businesses. And as I was, meeting people and understanding this new world I was in of elected officials and public service, I started to kind of look around after a while, after about 7.5 years, saying, I think I can do a better job. So that's usually what happens when people get the bug. And I really encourage a lot of my interns. I've had over 1,000 interns come through my office to try to see if we can, light that spark of public service, giving back, because we need good people in government, because the government is paid for by our taxpayers. And so the taxpayers deserve to have the best people at the helm, experienced, qualified, and passionate. And I'm very happy at the Treasurer's Office that I do have, a team of those leaders, and you'll hear from some of them later on.
I love it. I mean, that's awesome. And I know you went through all this stuff in business, but a big focus that you have today is financial empowerment and access to education. And we talk about this a lot, but I don't think a lot of people understand how the two kind of relate. So what brought that focus to you? And what do you see as how it intertwines?
Yeah, so growing up, when I was born, my sister and my brother, my parents started saving. Back then, we didn't have these fancy savings plans, so they just put it into a dividend reinvestment plan, buying certain stocks. And by the time I went to college, I did not have any student loan debt. And I had extra money that my parents said I could open up a business. I could go and get a master's, or I can buy a house. And I decided to buy a house. And that has been one of the best decisions of my life, because that's the way you build equity and accumulate wealth here in the United States. Is you must buy a home ownership, property ownership. So because of my upbringing, that's why I'm very passionate about these savings programs. I give away piggy banks to encourage, kids to save, because these days, everybody, they don't have coins, right? Parents don't have coins. All they're doing is clicking and swiping and tapping. And so trying to get back to the basics. And then we have 4 savings programs under the State Treasurer's Office. And because I'm all about savings and financial literacy and how to help our young people think about saving for college. We also developed a resource guide for higher education to try to put all of these grant opportunities out there, free money, scholarships, so that our kids don't have to go into high student loan debt. So that's kind of been my ethos, and my, who I am growing up is all about money, understanding it, saving it, investing, and then letting the interest compound so that you can accumulate more.
I love it. Making your money work for you. I think that is such a great message, and helping people understand that from an early age is huge. You touched on these programs in the state treasurer's office. What does a state treasurer actually do every day? Like, I really don't think a lot of people know this.
Yeah, I mean, there's 50 state treasurers. Each state has, we're all different, right? Just like we have 58 counties in California, and every county is different. So, as a state treasurer, I'm one of 8 elected officials statewide. I am the banker. All of the revenues, fees, interest, fines comes into my office, about $3 trillion every year. California, we are the 4th largest economy, so over 3 trillion comes through my office. I send whatever the state needs to pay its bills to the controller, which is Malia Cohen, and then I invest every single day to the penny. Every dollar that is sitting there is earning money for the state of California, as well as investing for 2,200 local governments. And I also issue all the bonds for the state of California, the UC, and the CSU systems. So that is the constitutional job duties under the our charter in 1849. And then, due to a powerful speaker, Jess Unruh, later on, he said, we're sitting on all this money, we should do more. So today I have 15 programs that funds and finances affordable housing, schools, hospitals, green energy, advanced manufacturing, small businesses, public transportation. And then I have my 4 savings programs. And that's just under the treasurer's office. So I have about 17 executive directors that I manage, 500 people, lots of money that comes in and that I send out. And so I'm kind of popular these days because I always say, if you need money, call me.
That's awesome. I think it's really great to see that, because I don't think necessarily everyday Californians translate into what this role of the treasurer does on how that impacts their lives, right? We have this concept, you're on the ballot, things happen, but like, what does it mean in practice? So that's awesome. I'd love to start with one of your biggest focus areas, and it's one of mine, and that is helping more families save and access higher education. California has several programs aimed at this. We talked about a few of them. Can you give them a quick overview of the main programs, ScholarShare 529, CalKIDS, and kind of how they complement each other?
Yeah, so under the IRS code section 529, we have a number of different savings programs that many of the states are starting to use that code section to encourage people with disabilities, seniors, um, kids going to higher education, and even children. So, Scholarship 529 is our state's college savings plan. Many states also have their own savings plan, but ours is ScholarShare 529 for California, and it is a set it and forget it model. So we encourage parents and guardians to open up an account as early as possible and put in a certain amount, auto deduct it so that it goes in. Like for me, I don't have kids, but I am saving $250 every month into my ScholarShare 529. And when I find, a relative or a needy person, or, maybe one of my friends wants to go back and do a little more study but can't afford it, I can transfer that money to that student so that they can use it for tuition and books and things that they need so that they don't have to go into student loan debt or max out their credit card. So that's ScholarShare. Now, after COVID, the legislature put in $2 billion for a new program called CalKIDS, calkids.org. This is free money, $500 for every first through 12th grader on free and reduced lunch. They're eligible for $500. If they're a foster youth, another 500. And if they are homeless, another 500. So this is free money that we have been trying to give out. And do you know how hard it is to give out free money when you're the government? No strings attached. You're a student, you put in your student ID, it'll ask you a couple of questions. If you're eligible, that money goes into that child's account and it will compound interest. So this is CalKIDS. Also, for every newborn, born after July 1st, 2022, they are also eligible for about $75 to $175. Depending again. But again, this is free money. And we're just trying to encourage everyone, every child, every parent, every guardian to think about this is their child's money. This is their future. We want to empower the next generation to say somebody cares about us, to put money so that we can better our lives, either through higher education, to your community college program, and an apprenticeship program. It is really, really very flexible. So these are the programs that we are trying to get out to millions of kids who have free money sitting there in their name. All they have to do is go claim it.
I love it because I think you highlighted something that you're giving this money very early on. And at the beginning of our show, we talked about compound growth and making that money work for you. And so you don't realize this, but when you're a small baby, that money over 18 years can grow and pay for maybe at least a year or 2 years at community college. And when you combine that with federal and other state grant programs and different things, it really does enable a path to free higher education when you put everything together. And I hope people start to see that. And please, one of my favorite things is go get your free money. I will never get your free money, people. So if you've had a child born in the last few years, you probably have free money waiting for you in the state of California. You need to go to calkids.org and you need to claim that. What other things is the state doing to help increase awareness and participation, especially things like 529 ScholarShare? We'll come back to CalKIDS in a minute, but I'm really curious on that one because I love saving for college and 529 plans. It's one of the things that I started writing about way back when, 15 years ago, and they have exploded in popularity for a few reasons over the last few years.
Yeah, so a couple of new savings programs that started when I first got elected as state treasurer 7 years ago. But John Chung, the former state treasurer, really did a lot with the legislature to shepherd these programs. One is Cal Savers, and that is for people who are not offered a retirement savings plan at their workplace. Very, very expensive, right? Employer has to pay attorneys, accountants, fiduciaries. They have filing obligations. They have to follow their employees around and continue to file. So a lot of small businesses, nonprofits, they just can't afford that. So this is why this program was created for those people who don't have a retirement savings plan. They can now and are required, actually, if you have one or more employee. After this year, you need to open up a Cal Savers account with my office. Once you help upload the roster for your employees, you will have no other financial or legal liability. Those accounts stay with that employee. And again, it's a set it and forget it model. You take out, I think it starts with the default is 5% out of a person's paycheck. And then that money continues to grow. And if that employee needs it for some rainy day fund, their car broke down, or they have to move and they need down, first and last month rent, this money is available to them. It's a post-tax savings plan. Then I want Thomas Martin to talk about our CalABLE plan. That is a savings plan for people with disabilities. And then I will come back and talk about our HOPE programs, which are going to be launching next year. So I just want to, maybe you can introduce Thomas, and he's got a great story and why he is here and an amazing executive director with us.
Welcome, Thomas. So Thomas Martin is at CalABLE, and I love ABLE plans, Thomas, and I'm going to give you a chance here, but tell us a little about yourself and how you got started with ABLE programs and what we need to know on the high level, and we'll dive in a little more.
Sure. Yeah. So yes, hi, I'm Thomas Martin. I'm the executive director of CalABLE. So I'm autistic. So are both of my kids. So CalABLE is a very near and dear program to me. It was important to me even before I started. So when my oldest son was first diagnosed, this was about 10 years ago or so. The advice at the time was to make sure not to save any money for him. Don't put any money in his name, because if you do that, if you ever try to get him on benefits, like as an adult, You will be denied. They will deny you benefits until you spend down until he has no money left to his name, and then they'll get him on benefits. So basically, don't save any money because you're throwing it away, which as a parent is an awful thing to hear. I mean, I think that's thinking about the purpose of this podcast. This is about to plan and save for your children, for your family, for whoever, and being told as a parent, do not save. That is a bad idea. That's not what a parent needs to hear. Um, and what's great about CalABLE now that CalABLE exists. Now that CalABLE exists, you can actually save money, set it aside for someone with a disability or for yourself. Like I have my own CalABLE account, I can save for myself. And if that person receives or will receive benefits in the future, the money they have in that account can be exempt from those asset tests that would otherwise kick them off benefits.
I think you nailed it. And I don't think a lot of people realize that because there are means tests to qualifying for certain types of benefits that can help you if you're disabled. And so, as you alluded to, one of the historical things that people always said was basically forced poverty. If you want to receive certain benefits, you can't have any assets. But that's not necessarily fair to those that have disabilities. And there actually might be things you need to save for, like maybe retrofitting your home or other things that no matter how much benefits you get, you might need a little more money than that, but getting set amount of money will cost you your benefits. And so you put people in a catch-22 that I don't think a lot of people realize. So you alluded to it, but like, what is the benefits and what can you invest in the CalABLE plan and how do you get money into it? And how does like it actually work like logistically?
Sure. Yeah. So a couple of things. So what are the benefits to it? Let's start with that. So like I said, if you're going to receive other benefits, it helps protect access to those benefits. When people think about disability benefits, usually the first thing that comes to mind, whether they know the name of it or not, is SSI, Supplemental Security Income. That comes from Social Security, from the feds. That is the main source of income and often the only source of income for more than 1 million Californians. But SSI comes with some heavy strings. And the most challenging one, at least for me as a parent, is that that an SSI recipient can't have more than $2,000, which is nothing. $2,000 is absurd. That number hasn't changed since like 1989, I think, when maybe $2,000 made sense. But, me trying to plan for my kids, I want my kids to be as independent as they can be. I don't want them to be limited if they don't need to be limited. And the notion that I would only be able to have $2,000 saved for them for when they're adults is absurd. My oldest son is almost certainly going to be on benefits his whole life. But I want him to be able to, live alone or be able to do things like that. And he wouldn't be able to get an apartment for $2,000. There's nowhere in America, I refuse to believe there's anywhere in America that you can get an apartment and move in with $2,000 and pay first and last month's rent and a deposit and furniture and everything else. That's just not going to happen. So basically, like you said, it's kind of forced. It's not only forced poverty, it's forced dependence. That he'd always have to rely on someone else if he couldn't have any money saved. And so that's one great, amazing thing about that. I can save for it. So, in line with your podcast, I can save for college for him. But I don't know if he's going to go to college. So it's like a ScholarShare 529, which is amazing. Doesn't really make sense for me to save for him because I don't know if he's going to have college expenses, but I know he will have expenses of some sort. So I can still use CalABLE and be able to save for him and for his brother too. And know that I'll be able to use it for whatever they need to. And the other great thing, just like with ScholarShare, that anything that's earned in the accounts, there's different investment options. Anything that's earned grows tax free, which just makes it an easy way to be able to keep planning for the future. And that's really why I have it for myself. I have it because it's tax free earnings. Why would I say no to that? It's like another retirement plan, basically.
I love it. And I also think it's important for listeners, this might be their first exposure to a
Mhm.
529 able plan. There are some rules though. You have
Yeah.
to open it before a certain period of time, and there are limits on how much you can put in. Can you just give them a high overview
Yeah.
of that? So like if they're like, oh my gosh, this might work for me, make sure you do know the asterisks of what is
Yes.
required.
Definitely. So one thing I'll say, because so first of all, CalABLE is California's ABLE plan. Just like ScholarShare, there's a lot of other versions of it. Almost every state, something like 47 states in DC, something like that, have an ABLE plan of their own. So if anyone in another state, it's definitely worth looking into. But you can also get CalABLE. We're the best, so you may as well. Yeah, so in order to open a CalABLE account or any other ABLE account, you have to have a disability that began before the age of 26. So it doesn't matter how old you are today. Like I'm well past 26, and I feel it every day. But I can still have an account because my disability starts at birth. And what's great is next year, there's a change in federal law, so it's going to expand. So anyone with a disability that starts before the age of 46 will be able to open an ABLE account starting next year. So I have a bit more information about kind of what is an eligible disability on our website. It's calable.ca.gov. So you can find more details there. But again, you don't have to receive benefits. I don't receive benefits to be eligible. I can certify that I have a disability. And then as far as what you can use it on, you can the rule is that you have to use it for the independence, health, or quality of life of the person with the disability. That's the broad rule. It's pretty broad. There's some examples that the feds give, like education and housing, healthcare, those sorts of things. But again, it's very broad. Quality of life is a lot of things. It can be quite a bit. And what's nice about it, so the reason why I use it like for myself as like a retirement account, or the reason I'm comfortable putting a lot of money into my kids' account is it can be used at any point. So it's not locked away. I can access it when I need to, whether it's an expense for me or for my kids, as long as it benefits, that account holder is the main rule. Then usually it's something I could spend the account for.
That's amazing. I love it. And then you said it can also be used for education expenses
Yeah.
too. Vocational training, I'm assuming
Mhm.
as well, and some different things like that. So it's designed to help people get that independence uh, and still be able to receive the benefits without having it to be an either or choice. And I think that's what makes it such an incredible program.
And sometimes
Exactly.
vacation, right, Thomas?
Yeah. We had an account holder used it for a cruise to Alaska, and he was able to pay for his mom because he needed the assistance for it. So
This-
even though she benefited from a cruise, it was for his benefit. He needed the assistance to be able to do it. So yeah, and that's an example of well-being. Really, and that's the thing about it, is that there's a lot of flexibility in how you can use it. So you can use it for long-term savings, but you can also use it when you need to. We have a debit card attached to the account. You can load money onto it, and you go use it wherever you need to. It's
And
just
I'm assuming this can be combined too with things like the regular ScholarShare 529 plan as well.
Mhm.
So you could have some education savings, some long-term health potential savings together.
Exactly. Yeah. So you can put money into a ScholarShare account and to a CalABLE account at the same time. You can also roll it over for, let's say you already have money set aside for college, and maybe college isn't in the picture because of a disability, or just simply you have extra money left over because you did such a great job of saving for college. You have a little bit left over in the ScholarShare account. You can roll the money over into a CalABLE account as well, and they'll be able to use it for their benefit.
I love it.
Yeah, we're trying to make it as easy as possible for families to save, no
Mhm.
excuses, because sometimes parents may say, oh, my child isn't going to go to college. Well, how do you know your child's not going to go to college, right? And we're trying, my latest thing is, if you go to an apprenticeship program, some of these unions, they do not pay for the equipment. They don't pay
Mhm.
for the boots and the harnesses and the tools. And then a lot of these training programs require you to go someplace for an extended amount of time. They don't pay for gas, they don't pay for lodging, and especially for women, they don't pay for childcare. So that prevents a lot of women from participating in some of these, these higher education as well as apprenticeship programs.
Interesting. That's fascinating. Well, thank you, Thomas, for sharing all the CalABLE with us. And Treasurer Ma, I appreciate your transition back to higher education, because I think you just kind of nailed one of the kind of biggest misconceptions, or not misconceptions, but why parents worry about starting a 529 plan. And it is a 529 plan worth it today with all these changes and possibly the restrictions that are on it as well?
Well, so this is what's great about a 529 plan is that it is your plan. Okay. And so, like Thomas said, I mean, these 529 plans are in almost all 50 states. So they're not going to go away, and it's not funded by the government. Right. So this is one way that we can be a little bit more independent and self-sustaining, is by preparing for the future. So when my friends or colleagues have a baby, I always say, hey, open up a California ScholarShare 529, send me around a gift link, and I will donate $250 versus, buy a little gift for like $50, right? And you can do this during holidays and birthdays and encourage all of the friends and family to invest in this child instead of going to the, buying a toy that they're going to get bored of in 5 minutes, or buying a piece of clothing that they're going to outgrow in 3 months, right? So this is really a great idea. And it's amazing how, I advised the controller, Malia Cohen, to do this, and she also sent around the gift link, and she's like, that was a great 1-year birthday for her daughter, Madison, so it works.
I'm gonna take a little credit. I think you listened to our podcast, because it's one of our number one things we say is that families and friends should be gifting to the 529 plan instead of going and buying $20 or $30 gifts, because we all know when you have a 1-year-old, they're going to play with one toy and then everything else just goes to waste. But think of all that money, and then you compound that money for 18 years. And man, it's a lot of money. So that is amazing.
Yeah,
You mentioned that. Oh, go ahead.
When I do give a latte example, and I don't know if this is still the correct number because the interest rates have changed, but I used to say, if you can forego a latte a weekday, and save $100 day one, after 18 years compounding interest, that money will grow to about $65,000. Just by not buying a latte a day, right? So you think about it, we have to make choices and we have to save. And there's, kind of a rule of thumb. I think we're going to talk about kind of savings, for the next generation. But clearly, the sooner you can just set it and forget it, we don't get pay stubs anymore. People just look at what's in their bank account and go, oh, okay, I still have money. Okay, I can go buy this, or I can, pay this off. So it really, really does pay off. I'm always surprised when I look at my accounts later on how much money I actually have in all of my different retirement and savings plans.
It's just time, and it's just putting it in there and letting the time do the work for you. You mentioned that there's 49 competitors to ScholarShare. You said there's 49 other states. So how does ScholarShare compare to these other states? I mean, California is, I think, the best state, but hey, let's talk about the actual plan itself.
Yeah, so part of it is we are always looking for the rating. So there is a Morningstar, gold, silver, bronze, I think, and we have been consistently silver. Sometimes we get gold, and it really does depend on the portfolio, right? How well it does, and all of the other things that we are offering versus the other states. And one of the things that I have been working on, I've gotten a bill to the governor's desk twice, is to give some sort of tax incentive, either a tax deduction or a tax credit for families who put money into a ScholarShare 529, right? We can use carrots and sticks. I am a big proponent of carrots versus the stick. And so to the extent that you can give a little bit of incentive, we haven't gotten it signed by the governor. The first year, it was outside the budget, and so he didn't want to sign any bills that would cost money outside or take away money. The second year, I just think it was just the program, the way it was amended, wasn't going to be useful for the people who would actually use it, because you have to be a Schedule A filer. So not low income. This is really middle income folks, right? The teachers, the nurses, the firefighters, the police officers. These are our biggest, group of people who are thinking about saving for money because they do have a little disposable money, especially if they're getting raises, along the way. And so they are thinking about that. So that's why, the second bill I was not thrilled about, has to go through the legislature. So we're going to try to run another bill this year and would really love your help and all of your listeners' help.
I love it. I mean, we're here for that. So if those of you listening don't realize, about 2/3 of 529 plans offer some type of tax credit or tax deduction. California does not yet. We're going to put an asterisk on yet. We're hopeful. So if you see that go through, please let your assembly member or representative know that it's important to you, because that money can go a long way, because now you're getting money that goes in state tax-free, grows tax deferred or tax-free within the account. And then you could use it for this range of qualifying education expenses tax-free. So I love hearing that. Love hearing it. I don't know if we're first to hear it, but I know you have put those bills out before, so I love it. What about kind of aligning California ScholarShare with the federal rules? So a bunch of them just changed. Thomas alluded to a little of the changes on the ABLE side of things, but California also doesn't fully conform with the state rules or the federal rules for 529 plans. Any thoughts on that changing or any insights?
Well, I think every state, right, the federal government makes its changes, and then the states can decide whether to conform or whether to run their program a certain way. So we are always looking at conformity because it's just easier for taxpayers when they are doing their taxes to have conformity versus, another schedule that's on their state that is different and then, causes confusion. But, if it doesn't work for the state of California and our population, our target market, then we don't conform. But most of the time, I would say California tries to conform.
I get it. So when you look at these as the state treasurer, how do you judge success for these programs? I mean, we mentioned half a dozen acronyms here. You got ScholarShare, you got CalKIDS, CalABLE, CalSavers. What does success of these programs look like to you from like a measurable thing? Because like we talked about earlier, we love math, so like the numbers, right?
Yes. So as an accountant, I'm always about the numbers. And, I served in the San Francisco Board of Supervisors and the State Assembly, and those are policy roles where you pass laws. But then you have to, for me, I go back to the numbers. How much is it costing? What are the benefits? And money, the numbers don't lie, as we talked about, Robert. And so I always go back to the data. So for these programs, first off, the executive directors that I have been able to appoint during my 7 years all have to have some private sector experience. That is important to me because they need to understand that time is money, that every day that some document sits on our desk or in an inbox that doesn't get answered, someone is paying, waiting for their, their place to open up or waiting for, some government check that depends on that. So time is money. One of my deputies, Stephanie Tom, also came from the tech sector for many years, and her whole thing is analytics. It's about setting goals, hitting those benchmarks, and then trying to do better the next year. And she oversees all 4 savings programs, very focused on the numbers. How many accounts have we opened? How much is our assets under management? What can we do better, for the next year? What partnerships can we be leveraging? Who can we reach out to and talk to like this? Thank you, Robert. And my office, reached out to you because of your following to try to expand so that we can get this money out. In government, if you don't use it, you lose it. And so to the extent that these young people or people with disabilities and seniors and others are not claiming their free money, someone else is probably going to use it if we don't get it out to them.
No, I love that. It's so true. Like it is use it or lose it. But for Californians, I mean, it's literally, if you don't know it's there, so let's get out there and start claiming it. Well, go ahead. No, go for it.
So we have another newer savings programs that was authored and really pushed by former state senator Nancy Skinner, called Hope accounts. And this is money that is set aside for any child who lost a parent or guardian due to COVID, or foster youth, those that have been in the system for 18 months or more. They will be eligible to claim $3,000 into their Hope accounts, again, for the same purposes, for higher education, certified apprenticeship programs. And these are going to start rolling out hopefully first quarter of 2026. So again, we're going to need a lot more education, outreach, partnerships to get this money out, because these are really hard to reach populations.
I love hearing that. And so they can go online. I'm guessing it's going to be very similar to CalKIDS. They claim the money and then they could roll it into a ScholarShare 529 account or similar, or does it stay in the Hope account? Or what does that actual mechanism look like?
Yeah, it's going to stay in the Hope accounts until they are 26 years old. If they have not claimed their money, then it will go back into the pot so that others can claim the money. During COVID, we had record surpluses. And part of where the surpluses went to is these type of savings programs for the most underserved, to try to incentivize them to, save money. We don't know what's going to happen in the future, but hopefully when there's more money and these programs are successful and we've hit our benchmarks, maybe the legislature and the future governor will put more money back into these programs. So that's why we're trying to get this money out as soon as possible.
Well, you've heard it from the treasurer herself. If there's free money on the table for you, you need to go out there and claim it. And I please encourage you to look for that. Well, we've been going here for almost 40 minutes, and I don't want to take much more of your time, but personal finance to me is personal. Everyone has their own story, their unique situation. And so I thought, let's get to know you a little bit better on the personal finance side. And I have 5 kind of rapid fire questions. So are you ready?
Yep.
All right. Do you have a go-to personal finance book or financial literacy tool that you recommend, like to share with others?
Well, every day that I speak at public events, I am always pushing our savings programs. So yes, I guess I am the prophet, of our programs, because I'm living proof that it does work. And so we do as much as we can. So
I love it. So there you go. Her go-to financial literacy tool is ScholarShare 529, CalABLE, CalKIDS. That's a great one, and you are the right person to be pushing that out to people. So you do speak a lot. What advice would you give to high schoolers when it comes to setting themselves up financially?
yeah, so number one, I tell young people, never let anyone control your money going forward. If someone wants to say, honey, I'll pay all the bills. You just give me your paycheck. I will, oversee your credit card. Forget it. Because once they start controlling your money, they're going to start controlling, your life. And, then it's not an equal partnership. Number 2, I would say these days our iPhones are so important. And if you are not controlling all of the passwords, all of the accounts, and someone else can get in and upload all of these things because they're all on the cloud, that really is going to put you at a disadvantage. So, those are 2 things I think for young people that they need to think about as they are getting older. Secondly, start, get a job, try to get a job. And then if you get a paycheck, set aside 20% for savings, right? The rule is usually 50, 30, 20. 50% for your needs, 30% for your wants, and 20% for your savings. And trust me, you always are going to need money for something. So the sooner that you can put it aside and have that, peace of mind or confidence that if you need something, you don't have to go to your parents or you don't have to go to your friends to ask to borrow money.
I love it. You are just like channeling my interpersonal finance vibe. I love it. So what is your favorite money hack? This could be something that you do to save, you do to invest, your grocery store buying trick. What's your favorite money hack?
Well, I am a set it and forget it. So I have to
Okay.
get all of whatever I want to save or invest, whether it's my retirement account, whether it's my own ScholarShare 529, like I mentioned, I have to get it out of my paycheck so that, by
Nice.
mid-month, I know exactly how much extra I have for my wants because my needs have been all paid, my bills. I put up 20% into my savings, and then the rest are available for my wants.
I love it. Automating your paycheck is phenomenal. Put that 5, 10, 20% into all these things, and then you're just living off what's left, but you've already saved for yourself. I love that. So, what is one financial myth you wish Californians would stop believing?
That, cheaper is not always better. I know that everyone complains about the high cost of this, property taxes, income taxes, cost of living. Yes, it is. But we also get a lot of benefits, right? Cleaner air, cleaner gas, hopefully, clean water, food, agriculture, right? It's really, really hard to run a business here. So I would say, number one, a lot of us want to stay, live, retire, die here in California. That is me. So I don't mind paying a little bit more tax, but I do agree a little too much bureaucracy. Taxes and fees are a little bit too high, especially for some individuals. But you need to let your legislators know, your local electeds, your county electeds, your assembly member, your senator, your governor, me, what it is that is burdening you, overburdening you. And hopefully, in politics, the squeaky wheel gets the grease. So if we don't hear from you, then we think everything's okay. So you just can't complain to one person, but please, take the opportunity to let those that can affect the laws and the budgets, let them know what is really hampering you, holding you back from the competition, preventing you from moving to another state, for example.
I love hearing that. And I think it's a really important message. And I don't think a lot of normal citizens realize that people do listen. And they might not listen to the one, but when they get 5 messages or 10 messages or 20 messages around the same thing, it does start to become something that's very heard. And I see this at state government, local government. We also do things with like the California Department of Financial Innovation on student loan scams. Like, sending them one scam, they might not see it. But when they heard from 3 Californians or 5 Californians, suddenly we can start really investigating and finding these things. So if you have a concern, and I'm kind of hijacking your thought here a little bit, you have to let them know. If you don't let them know, how are they supposed to know? So I really appreciate you sharing that. And one final one to end it, and this is not finance related, but you're a Californian. You just said you want to die here. So what is your favorite spot to go in California? This could be on vacation, to see, to watch the sunset, skiing. I don't know. You tell me, what's your favorite spot?
I actually don't like to go to the same spot twice.
Ooh,
I
okay.
like to explore new parts of California. If you follow me on social media, I always am very positive, talking about the good things that people are doing. And California is amazing. We are the 4th largest economy in the world. And when you get in the car and drive 2 to 3 hours, it is different. Every
Yeah.
little city has something special. There's so many small businesses, nonprofits that are doing great work, schools, community gardens, farmland. I mean, go out and explore. Don't go to the same place twice. That's my advice.
That's a phenomenal one. And I think the crazy thing is you could drive for 2 to 3 hours and you're only like 10% through California. It is such a big state when you go north to south, east to west, mountains, valleys, deserts, the ocean, forests. It's got it all. So I appreciate you spending the time with us today, sharing these things about California's education savings programs, disability savings programs, retirement programs, letting us get to know you a little bit. I appreciate it. And thank you guys so much. This has been amazing. And I hope our listeners get value from it.
Thank you, Robert.
Wow, what a show. And I know that was a little bit longer than we normally go, but what a treasure trove, no pun intended, from the Treasurer of California, Fiona Ma. If you want to dive deeper into all things 529 plans and college savings, We have everything for you. It's all at our website at thecollegeinvestor.com. You can dive deeper on not only just California, but any state that offers a 529 plan. You can also find us on social media. You have any questions or comments about what you heard today or anything, really, we'd love to help you and get to know you better. Just search for The College Investor and you'll find us pretty much all over social media. We're there. Thanks again for stopping by today, and we'll talk to you again real soon.